friends. Welcome to Holy Chaos, episode 2. We survived episode 1, and here we are.
Here we are.
And we just want to start off by saying y'all are amazing. We got so much great feedback from our first episode that we couldn't hardly wait to get started on episode 2. I couldn't believe how many people from all sorts of marriage and family situations reached out and told us that that first episode just made them feel seen.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I couldn't believe how many friends texted me that I haven't even talked to in a while, reached out and just told me how much they loved the episode and that they laughed and they cried and that it was relatable. And that was really good to hear because I think that's the whole point behind this. We want it to be relatable. So,
and the real heart is just to remind people that you are not alone. Like
Right.
I heard that from people. Like it was just good to hear another couple talking about real life, like the poop story on Christmas morning. Like that's real, man. And we lived it. And you're not alone. You're going to hear us say that.
You're not alone at all.
You're going to hear us say that a lot, which is so good for us to hear. And that's the message we want to share with other people. So if you're listening to this in early January when we're recording it, chances are you've heard a lot about fresh starts and new habits and becoming a better version of yourself.
And meanwhile, you might be thinking, nothing feels new. I'm
Nope.
still tired.
Yep.
The same stuff is waiting for me. Changing the calendar didn't magically fix anything.
Like a lot of people, like the calendar rolled over from December 31st, 2025 to January 1st, 2026. And nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed, except we're still struggling to write 2026 on anything. And if that's you, we want you to know that you're not behind. You're not broken. You're definitely not alone. We're talking today about what happens when the new year doesn't feel new, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and how to move forward with grace instead of guilt.
Lots of grace.
Lots of grace. So about 30 to 40% of people make New Year's resolutions every year, but only about 9 to 10% of those people actually stick with them long term. And what kind of like super freaks are those people that they make it long term with their resolutions? Because have you ever made it a whole year with a resolution?
No.
I don't think I have either. So of the New Year's resolutions that are made, nearly a quarter of people quit in the first week. Or they successfully say, I'm going to wait till Monday.
It's really hard to change.
And then by the second Friday in January, which is when this episode should be dropping, it's actually nicknamed Quitter's Day because so many people quit by that second Friday in January. And most people don't fail because they lack willpower, but because resolutions rely on short-term motivation instead of sustainable rhythms and habits.
January comes with some pressure.
Mm-hmm.
New routines, new energy, new goals, and it can feel cruel, honestly, because a lot of people limp into January after a long year.
Crawl into
And
January.
December is exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Christmas just really takes it out of you sometimes. The holidays don't refresh everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they drain you. And especially if you're a parent, you're hosting, traveling is so rough. If you're grieving or just trying to keep things together.
Yeah. So like that first year after we moved to Florida, we flew back to Illinois like the day after Christmas or something, or 2 days after Christmas. And it was exhausting.
It was exhausting.
We felt the extra pressure to try to see everyone because we live in a different state now. And it was not a restful vacation. It like zapped us even more. So the last 2 Christmases we have staycationed.
Yes.
Bonus. Like,
It's been just so renewing. Like when we come off of that break, it's just not doing the rush. Our bodies need to rest at that point. Like,
yeah, and I think in particular this year, I was just feeling really drained after Christmas. Like you probably saw me experience Christmas in a different way than, because I'm like Mr. Christmas.
Yes, and it was your first Christmas without your grandpa.
Second, he died
Second.
before Christmas
Second,
last year. But I
yes.
think it was the full realization of it. Like, it was still so shocking.
Yeah, I think that's why I called it the first, because I think the first year you were just in shock.
Yeah, it hadn't set in yet. And for those that are listening and don't know, my dad passed away 3 years ago, right around Christmas time,
Right before Christmas.
after a really short battle with leukemia. We had a very strained relationship. I think there's probably a time that we'll get into that on this this podcast. And throughout my whole life, my pawpaw was like dad to me. He raised me. I say all my best stories start with him. Anything good and moral and hardworking in me was taught to me by him. So yeah, there was a new realization that he wasn't calling on Christmas this year. And my grandmother has dementia, and there wasn't that Christmas phone call. I knew there wasn't going to be. So I was kind of limping into Christmas in that way. Christmas Eve worship is my favorite. All these years as a pastor, that's been the thing. And I had kind of had to force myself out the door on Christmas Eve. I was kind of dreading it. I actually think it made me a better preacher on Christmas Eve, though. Like, I had a lot of people say, like, that sermon, like, walked a good line of what people were feeling, whether they were new or visiting the church or been there a long time. Like, and I think I was just preaching from a raw place. But I'll take all that. By the time I got done with Christmas Eve services and got home, it was like 10:30 on Christmas Eve night. The kids were already in bed. Thankfully you had all the gift stuff done. I didn't have to do that. I just got to eat some cookies. And I stayed up and watched A Christmas Story for a little bit. You shoot your eye out, kid, which is a good Christmas tradition. But I was just exhausted all day Christmas Day. It just felt like I was just drained. So we went camping for a few days after Christmas, and that was like the thing to do. Like,
it really was. Like, I enjoyed it way more than I expected.
So you had a traumatic experience camping as a kid.
I did.
Was it the only time you guys went camping?
Yes.
Okay, and how old were you when this happened?
I'm not for sure. I know I was probably under 10.
Okay, so under 10, your family goes camping together, tent camping, primitive camping. What happens from there?
So I just remember like being so excited. Like, we had gotten a tent, we were gonna, do this camping thing. And then all I can really remember is that it was raining so hard, and like policemen came out in like raincoats and stuff with like lights, and were like, "You got to get out of here now." And I just remember my dad just like bending down and just like heaving the tent out of the ground and like throwing it in the back of his pickup.
Yeeted it into the truck.
Just yeeted it. Yeeted it into the truck. And yeah, that's all I remember from that.
So for all these years, that's been your lone memory of camping. So I grew up camping. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've camped a bunch, but you were never interested in camping. So that was not a thing. And so I was just kind of shocked, late this fall when you were like, we have so many beautiful places to camp in Florida this time of year. I think I want to try to camp.
Well, and I think just, as I've gotten older, I crave peace and stillness. And I just thought, what better way to get that than to be, in the trees.
So can you describe for the folks listening how fast the tent I ordered got here after you said you thought about going camp?
Okay, so it was kind of amazing because I didn't realize how much that would light you up. Like, as soon as I mentioned it, like, your inner Eagle Scout just awoke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the eagle was flying.
Like, he's planning meals, he's ordering like the basic things that we need. Like, you made it so easy.
Yeah, you couldn't have done it without me.
No, I couldn't have.
So we go camping for a few days at a little regional park, not too far from home, which was a good place to start. Our oldest daughter was kind of indifferent about it. She wasn't looking forward to leaving screens behind. Our youngest daughter, she's 3. She didn't really thinking our middle daughter was absolutely convinced she was going to get eaten by a bear.
Right.
Like, how dare you take me out in the woods to die kind of stuff. Y'all, it was so good though. Like by the first morning, like we stayed all night. You know, there's kind of the restless first night's sleep, and
Yeah, it's a new place, and
that morning, our middle was like, "Can we do this again?" And you said when we were out there, like after, like we started dating over 20 years ago. We've been married 17 years. Like, there's not many sides of me you haven't seen. So you were experiencing a side of me for the very first time.
yeah.
And it was so good. It was the slowdown, the rest, the reset I needed going into a new year. Now, back to the theme of the podcast, like nothing changed after that. Like everything else was still waiting. That was just a slowdown, a pause. I think what we're learning is those rhythms, those pause and reset and slow down rhythms are way more important, way more effective than the big booming resolutions. Like,
Right.
I'm going to change everything about myself in one day. I'll wait till Monday. You know? And this developed in us in early 2020. Y'all remember, like, when the whole world was unraveling? Our friend George A. Savito told me about a book by an author that I'd never heard of, John Mark Comer, called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I read it because he told me to do it. But I'm going to be honest, I thought it really sounded like a waste of time. Like, it sounded like a weird self-help book to me.
And see, I love self-help books, so
Yes, you do. There's a whole stack of them in our bedroom.
yes.
Now, this book, though, has continued to impact me in really deep ways. He's written other books, but this is the one that I keep coming back to. And then I gave it to you to read, and we keep coming back to this book.
I honestly feel like I need to read it again.
Well, we've talked about that, like putting this podcast together. Like, we both have some things we need to revisit.
Oh, yeah.
And the quote that kind of frames the whole book in The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry is the idea that the greatest threat to our spiritual lives is hurry and what they call hurry sickness. It's based around a conversation that the author, John Mark Comer, that his mentor, John Ortberg, had with Dallas Willard. And those of you that are church folks, you probably know who John Ortberg and Dallas Willard are. Incredible folks. But John Ortberg asked Dallas Willard, "What must I do to become the me I want to be?" And then he got his notepad out because he was ready for Dallas to drop some gold on him. Just absolute spit and brilliance. And he was shocked when he just simply said, "You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." And John went, "Okay, great. What else?" And he said, "There is nothing else. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." How does that translate for January?
Well, I mean, January is basically a hurry month. Hurry to improve, hurry to fix, hurry to become someone new. And if you're already tired, that pressure just compounds the exhaustion. So we've had years where January didn't feel very hopeful and it felt really heavy. So sometimes we honestly expect January to bring clarity, but instead it just exposes how worn down we are.
So worn down.
And I think for me, January has sometimes felt like a failure. You know, everyone else looks motivated and excited, and I'm thinking, I'm drowning over here. I don't even feel caught up.
Oh, yeah. All the things we say we're going to get done over Christmas break, and then it's like time to go back to work. I'm like, I didn't do any of that.
Right.
Like, I had a whole list of honeydew stuff that I was going to do around the house. The only thing I got done was mulching the flower beds, but you were very grateful.
I was very grateful.
Very grateful. But I didn't get anything else done.
Yeah.
Nothing in that time.
So one of the things that Comer talks about is how hurry disconnects us from God, from others, and from ourselves. And I realized that I wasn't unmotivated. I was depleted. So that was huge for us. Because depletion doesn't get fixed with new goals. It gets healed by rest, presence. So here's what we want to normalize. January is actually a fresh start for most people.
Right. It's a continuation. Same marriage, same kids, same job, same unresolved stuff. And when our lives, and especially when our faith lives, get wrapped up in productivity, we start believing that God's disappointed if we don't start strong. But Scripture doesn't talk about instant transformation. It happens, but it's very infrequently. What we find way more often is daily faithfulness. And you got to be ready for these changes. So like I think I've decided every January for years that this is going to be the year that I lose weight. Last January, I said that I'm going to make big changes, and then like not a dang thing changed. like not one. It took me till May to get really serious about it. And this has been 2025 was a big year for me getting healthier and reaching goals. But it took until the end of May for me to finally feel like, okay, now I've got the motivation to go, because there was so much stuff I had to deal with in January that it took me till May. And I think that's where a lot of us find ourselves. And that's one of the things that John Mark talks about in the book, is we're not meant to live at the pace of modern life and be spiritually healthy and be emotionally healthy. The two things can't coexist with one another. Our world moves so fast that we can't focus in on anything. I mean, one of the stats that blew my mind in the book was talking about adult attention spans. And I'm probably going to get this a little wrong, but it's pretty close. That one, when the iPhone came out, our attention spans took just a nosedive completely. So now the average adult attention span is about 8 seconds.
I think so. I think I've heard that before.
Well, a goldfish has an attention span of 9 seconds.
So we're losing to goldfish.
We're losing to goldfish. and that's part of the problem. We can't live the same kind of pace that the world around us says we need to live and get spiritually, emotionally, mentally healthy. So if January feels off, it might not be a faith issue. It might not even be a you issue. It might just be a pace issue.
What if January isn't about reinventing yourself?
But slowing yourself.
Yeah. So instead of asking, what do I need to change? Ask, what do I need to remove? What can I do less? So back to the book, one of the core ideas in Ruthless Elimination of Hurry is that spiritual health requires intentional subtraction.
Okay.
So less noise, less rushing, less pressure to perform.
So we've stopped really setting massive resolutions, and we've just started paying attention to rhythms. What's off, what needs tweaked in a system. And I want you all to hear how much this has impacted us, because this book was released in late 2019 and it's 2026 now. And it's probably the book that I recommend the most to people.
Oh, yeah. I think if you actually take the things in the book that he says and put them into action, your life will change drastically.
Because transformation doesn't happen in hype. It happens in ordinary, unhurried ways. So if any of this is resonating with you, there's a chance you might be suffering from this thing called hurry sickness. And this didn't actually come from John Mark Comer. It's a psychological phrase. It's been out there for a while. But it was the first time I heard of it was in this book. And one of the clearest signs of hurry sickness is that everything starts to feel harder than it should. There are 10 signs of hurry sickness that he brings out. See if any of these resonate with you. Do not say if they resonate about me, though. Okay?
Okay.
You're more irritable. Hush. Hush.
I didn't say anything.
There was a chuckle. You're more irritable. You're more hypersensitive. Small things hit you like big things. When you finally try to slow down, you can't. Restlessness creeps in, and rest feels uncomfortable. Silence feels loud. Your mind keeps racing. You stay busy because stopping feels worse than exhaustion. which leads to workaholism or nonstop activity, and that becomes normal. And by the end of the day, the people you love most get the worst version of you. And over time, you begin to feel emotionally flat. There's a growing emotional numbness, and empathy starts to fade. As hurry takes over, your life slips out of alignment. You feel the pull of out of order priorities, always reacting instead of living with intention. Your body starts keeping the score too, through a lack of care for your body, poor sleep, low energy, unhealthy rhythms. And instead of practices that restore your soul, you reach for relief. Escapist behaviors become your coping mechanisms and numbing your pain. And slowly there's a slippage of spiritual disciplines, not because you don't care, but just because you're exhausted. And eventually, hurry isolates you. And the last thing is you experience isolation from God, from others, even from your own soul. Busyness becomes the hiding place, not because it gives life, but because slowing down would force you to face what's really going on inside. So when I looked through the symptoms of hurry sickness, at that time in 2020, every one of those applied to me.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Every single one of them. I think workaholism and emotional numbness were probably the biggest ones for me, especially that part where the people you love get the worst version of you. Like the church got my best, everyone else got my best, and you and the girls got the leftovers. And that was a hard realization. And a lot of it came just from hurry. What do you think you were experiencing the most? Like I said, I think I could have checked off all of them, and you said that too. Which one do you think was hitting you?
I would say probably just lack of care for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just some really unhealthy rhythms.
Yeah. So if you're listening, you obviously you can read this book, but we have a suggestion for you.
We've actually replicated and adapted John Mark Comer's hurry sickness assessment for the book and made it available online. So if you want to take it yourself, we'll link it in the show notes. But if the new year doesn't feel so new, we want to suggest some practical tools to start slowing down a bit.
Okay. So first, name your hurry. Ask yourself, where am I rushing right now, emotionally, spiritually, relationally? What's that hurry that you need to name? Number 2?
Lower the bar on new.
Boom.
New doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be sustainable.
Which is where I think a lot of people get stuck. And January doesn't feel new. The new year doesn't feel new because I'm going to make these big dramatic changes and then you crash and burn on them.
Right.
It takes like 29 days of a continuous action for it to become a routine for you, for it to become a part of you. And when we try to make huge changes, how many different things can you sustain for 29 days when they're all new?
I'm pretty sure I've heard somewhere before that you can't. Like 1 or 2 small changes is all you can do at a time.
It has to be sustainable.
Yes.
What's the step forward in my emotional health, my mental health, in my marriage and my parenting? What's one small step I can take? And I'm going to commit to that. And I'm also going to lower the bar on that and say that it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Have some grace for yourself. You're gonna mess this thing up as you go.
Yeah, like I always tell my preschoolers, mistakes are how we learn, it applies. It applies.
Adults, did you hear that? Mistakes are how we learn. If we never try anything, then we never get a chance to make a mistake, and if we don't make any mistakes, we're never going to learn anything. Here's the one I think is the big one. Number 3.
Right. Choosing one slowing practice. So here's a bunch of examples to intentionally slow down your life.
Now, before she says this, remember, we've just talked about how toxic hurry sickness is to our souls. And you're not going to fix this in one, don't set a big giant bar. Choose one slowing practice and see what happens with it.
Yeah. So a daily walk without headphones, one phone-free evening, a slower morning walk, one simple prayer you repeat, and saying no to one extra commitment.
I'm amazed. One, I had to learn this myself, but I'm amazed how often I have to say this to people. No is a complete sentence.
Same here. And I think, that's something that you and I learned way back when we read this book. And that is one thing that I feel like has really stuck for both of us.
Yeah.
Is that we both can easily say no now.
Yeah.
But at one time, that's hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm the same way, like I feel like I say that to people a lot, when they're so overwhelmed with responsibilities that, you can say no. I think sometimes we forget that's an option.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say no. And there's some other things that we've tried, some things we probably need to re-engage. We've talked about as we do this. Our devices, which is ironic that we're saying this on a podcast that you're listening to on some kind of device, we get a dopamine hit from our devices that causes the exact same reaction in our brain as drugs. Mm-hmm. And we can become addicted to that blue glow of our screens. So we've tried imperfectly, and it's something we need to work on again to really think about how we engage with devices, like turning off your devices an hour before your bedtime. Like this is the one I'm the worst at, because I will lay in bed and doom scroll until I can't keep my eyes open anymore. Like literally, I have laid in bed with my phone up there and fallen asleep and hit myself in the face with my phone as it drops out of my hand. Like that's not healthy.
No.
Whatsoever. So if you really want to level up with that, don't turn your phone back on until the next morning after you've spent time in scriptures and prayer. One of the things that I did early on with that, because of the doom scrolling, was get a real alarm clock. They still exist. You can buy one. There's one sitting right here. Our daughter had to do it. Our oldest had to use a real alarm clock for a school project. And she'd never seen one before. Like, use a real alarm clock just to get your phone out of your bedroom as a way to do that. Those are simple things, but it leads to doing some deep work and figuring out what's going on the inside and what God's trying to do with you. I can't say enough how important it is to start slowing down. Like, you were talking today about the speed at which you even brush your teeth.
Yeah, I think, we've been talking about this book lately, and just when you start thinking about it, there's so many little things that we do every day that we're like rushing through. And I just told Larry today, the way I brush my teeth.
I've never really paid attention to you brushing your teeth, I guess. When you said it, I just had this, like, you were very angrily rushing through, like, Argh!
Yeah, like, I've just tried to, like, notice moments where, I may be rushing, and it's, like, when I'm brushing my teeth, or, like, when I'm loading the dishwasher, Like, it doesn't have to be at, like...
Yeah.
A rushing pace. Like, I can take a deep breath and just... slow down.
Yeah. And when we start to slow down, we start to notice the gift of the time that we have. Like, one of the things I've been really convicted about probably the last 6 months or so, like, traffic around here is rough.
It is.
Like,
yeah.
We came from rural Illinois and we moved to the fastest growing city in Southwest Florida. And now it's season and all the snowbirds are here, like we used to be. And like, people who've been here longer than us say there is no season anymore. It's always busy. Well, it is busier.
It is busier.
It is busier. Like, traffic's ridiculous. And I can feel myself like, oh, I need to get there. What's with all this traffic? And I forget the fact that that's giving me extra time with my girls. To like click the radio off and ask them about their day. What are they looking forward to at school today? Or, what was the best part of their day? Like, that's a gift. Because at some point, those kind of things aren't going to happen anymore. Right. And I can slow down and try to be in that moment. Grocery store lines is another one for a lot of people. If you've got issues in the checkout line at Publix, God bless you. It's a real thing. These are the kind of things we're talking about to really start to move into a new you, slowing down. None of this is to impress God or anyone else, really, but just to make space space for God, space for margin in our lives. Because God's not impressed by hurry.
No.
Right.
So if you're married, this matters. Hurry is one of the fastest ways to disconnect.
Yeah, big time.
And parenting in a hurry makes everything harder.
100%. So we've learned that slowing down doesn't fix everything, not even by a long shot, but it changes the atmosphere around what's going on.
Yeah, January doesn't need to be a reset. It just needs to be a season of grace.
Lots of grace. And again, if any of this is resonating, a lot of this material comes from the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. That's been an incredibly helpful thing for us. It's something we still go to a lot.
Yeah, I think it just gave us some language to things that we were already feeling but didn't know how to name. We're not paid to say that.
Nobody's paying us for anything.
It's just a book that has really shaped both of us, you know, and how we think about faith and the pace of our, you know, life.
Yeah. And the pace we want for our family.
Right. So, especially if January feels heavy, this is a great companion. In writing this episode, we both realized how much we need to read it again after a few years. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we've even forgotten.
Yeah. Or we weren't ready for at the time.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
And we'd invite you to join us. We're linking the book in the show notes. So go buy a copy of it and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah. And if the new year doesn't feel new, that doesn't mean that God isn't working or that you're a failure.
It might mean that he's inviting you to slow down instead of speed up.
You're not late. You're not failing. You're not missing it.
God meets people right where they are, even in tired Januaries.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So thanks for being with us today on Holy Chaos.
And next time, we're going to be talking about the marriage we expected and the marriage we actually got.
Big episode coming. Very on brand for us. Oh, boy. Looking forward to that one. We will see you next time on Holy Chaos.